Yeah, we just heard Scott Jennings quote, I forget who it was, but they're telling these people to put your body on the line. Like, what is that? That's what we saw yesterday, and there's a woman dead over it now. So the rhetoric is so dangerous.
So I have a question for you. Are you willing to do the same? My answer is yes. Louder. Are you willing to do what it takes to fight for America?
Well, all the political actors seem to be weighing in. The president has weighed in, the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis have weighed in and effectively called this guy a murderer. They don't know that. I mean, there's obviously 2 points of view, and I assume there's going to be more facts that we're all going to learn in the days and weeks ahead. But it's pretty apparent this guy was standing in front of a vehicle and somebody accelerated at him. How this shakes out in the legal system.
No, it's not pretty apparent that they accelerated at him, you fucking retard, you partisan hack. If that was obvious, then I would expect like more of a consensus to be had, other than like the divisiveness that already exists for one, and then exists like for two within your own fucking party that can barely string along a sentence to defend this. Okay.
I don't know. I do know this. The president's been a strong proponent of standing up for his ICE agents and other federal law enforcement who have been, in fact,
that's irrelevant.
His ICE agents and other federal law enforcement who have been, in fact, under assault from protesters since he took office and instructed
That's just not true. Sorry.
them to simply enforce federal immigration law. And we have seen, in my opinion, a lot of irresponsible rhetoric over the year from Democratic officials like Tim Walz, who have called them Gestapo and murderers and everything else. And so,
but yeah, there's no heat or anything whatsoever coming from like coming from you to your own side, who has infinitely deployed more rhetoric that has been like hateful or divisive or anything else that you claim the left to be doing against like Trump or Vance or ICE or whoever else, right?
there are consequences to that kind of language, and I think we're seeing that play out today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about this story out of Minnesota when it comes to the woman who got shot, and particularly about what Scott Jennings has to say about it on CNN. And he says, in his opinion, this is caused from the Democrats pushing vigilantism onto the American people and trying to convince them they need to go and do something in the streets to stop ICE.
Yeah.
The only people that are pushing vigilantism are the motherfuckers that are hiring the wannabe vigilantes. Like, that's literally ICE is just filled with wannabe vigilantes. Like, when you increase the budget 3 times the amount that it was before, whenever you increase the amount of people that are being hired or needed to be hired, when you lower the standards for these people to actually be hired to these agencies, like, all you have left are vigilantes that want to join this and to act out whatever fantasies that they have.
I'm getting the same
In the streets to stop ICE.
Yeah, I'm getting the same sense when I hear the rhetoric coming from the governor and the mayor. We're gonna dig into it all right now. Stick with us. You're gonna get informed.
Which rhetoric? Okay, but you just said stick with you. We're gonna get into it. I'm very curious to actually see what the fuck you're talking about, because it sounds like you might just have no idea.
In this video, we would very much appreciate if you'd like, share, and subscribe.
Well, I agree with you, Jonathan. I think there's some details we don't know yet, and we'll have to learn more about it. What strikes me is, first of all, it's extremely sad and unfortunate that someone died. I mean, the political fighting and disagreements aside, it's terrible. You don't want people to die in law enforcement situations or otherwise.
No, you absolutely do. You and Trump and every other like Republican, dick suck, MAGA conservative absolutely do want these people to die, just so you can usurp like more and more and more in power to the executive, because that's all you can ever do. That's all you're ever good for.
But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country, in an effort to obstruct?
Why would you start off this clip talking about how you need more details, how you don't know the details around the case, but then go on to talk about people joining together in convoys to obstruct ICE raids or ICE conductions of investigations or whatever the fuck else? Like, why would you start that off with this and then go on to say that, like, oh yeah, here's this claim that I'm making, like, bold-faced, like, no shame whatsoever?
Lawful federal law enforcement activities. This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents
You haven't.
all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles,
Unless you mean like ICE agents ramming into like civilians' cars, yeah, then I would agree with that. But
have been tracking ICE agents around. This lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, have been tracking ICE agents around.
doesn't know that, by the way.
Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, but that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department, try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year.
If that's your standard of evidence, why don't you look at like Mo Brooks on the January 6th incident in the Ellipse speech, where he is telling people that they need to sacrifice their blood, sweat, tears, and potentially even their life like their ancestors did in the Revolutionary War? Why is that not an invocation of like violence or like harmful rhetoric or anything to that manner? But, you know, like whatever these like quotes that you're cherry picking from this, like definitely are. Like, square that circle for me, dog.
On the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people
It
about
does
this?
strike me.
Yeah, he is exactly right. It is the rhetoric that is propelling this to the
But it's only rhetoric that applies to one side, right, dipshit? Is that the only thing? Like, just one side is the one that's like doing this rhetoric. Also, this rhetoric that accurately describes the actions and the foundations of these groups, that accurately depicts this. Meanwhile, the other side is like constantly calling the left communist, fascist, Marxist, saying that they're a party of pedophiles, saying that they are a radicalized organization, saying that they shouldn't exist, saying that they just want to train your children. Like, that's not going to be like radicalizing to anybody whatsoever. That's not going to be like divisive.
heights that it's getting to, and now we've lost life. And in the last analysis, they're being gaslit by their own governor, by their representatives, by their mayors, to go and do something that's illegal. Getting in the way of ICE as they perform their constitutional duties is illegal.
Which you have no evidence for that whatsoever. Nobody has any fucking clue about this. There has not been an official investigation launched into this yet. So I don't know why you're making these claims out here like this. Also, it's probably illegal to, like shoot somebody that's like, trying to drive away. Okay. So spare me.
She was going to be arrested. She didn't need to die. But unfortunately, when you get into these high tension situations,
We don't know if she was going to be arrested. We don't even know if he has the authority to arrest her.
happen in a split second, bad things can happen. Don't take the bait. It isn't your job to go out there onto the street and stand up to ICE.
Here's the thing I've noticed when it comes to these panels and also the Democrats and stuff. They're not trying to tell people to stop ramming ICE vehicles. They haven't told people to stop attacking ICE agents. They haven't told people to stop spitting on ICE agents or
Because it's not really even happening. So
anything else like that. They're telling them to keep on the pressure. And it's because they want situations like this.
they're not.
They want things like this to happen because they want to see unrest in the United States. Because
What benefit happens from instances like this? What benefit is the left receiving that is like so consequential to instances like this occurring? Like, the left is not even in control of anything whatsoever. You have the president, who is a Republican, vice president, who is a Republican. You have the House that is Republican majority. You have the Senate that is Republican majority. You have the SCOTUS that is like favorable to the sitting president. What benefit does the left get from this? Meanwhile, you see on the right, when you have the president and the vice president coming together unanimously to talk about how they're going to go actually even harder on demonstrators or protesters. So
they think they're more unresters in the United States, the more likely they are going to win the midterms and the 2028 election. That's exactly what this is about. It's all politics. And a few people die. Oh, that's worth everything when it comes to the movement, when it comes to getting rid of Trump.
Yeah, we just heard Scott Jennings quote, I forget who it was, but they're telling these people to put your body on the line. Like, what is that? That's what we saw yesterday, and there's a woman dead over it now. So the rhetoric is so dangerous, and frankly,
I don't want to do this. Hold on.
Now, our ancestors sacrificed their blood, their sweat, their tears, their fortunes, and sometimes their lives to give us, their descendants, in America that is the greatest nation in world history. So I have a question for you. Are you willing to do the same? My answer is yes. Louder. Are you willing to do what it takes to fight for America?
Let's hear what this guy has to say. Let's hear what this fucking dipshit has to say again, by the way.
quote, I forget who it was, but they're telling these people to put your body on the line. Like, what is that?
Okay, to be fair, I don't know this guy. I don't know his positions, but someone should like maybe ask him if he thinks that Mo Brooks on the day of January 6th, the morning of January 6th at the Ellipse speech, when he's telling people that they should like, when he's asking them if they're going to be willing to sacrifice their lives to be true patriots, to take names and kick ass, if that's like, maybe like an incitement to poor behavior. Does this guy acknowledge that?
That's what we saw yesterday, and there's a woman dead over it now. So
that's what we saw on January 6th, and we saw like an insurrection come about as a result of that. We saw police officers being violently attacked as a result of that. We saw Ashley Babbitt get fucking domed as a result of that.
Oh, the rhetoric is so dangerous, and frankly, I cannot believe that the top officials in Minnesota are willing to sacrifice their citizens for a political objective.
Oh, you mean like, for one, it's not even true. For two, you mean like Donald Trump has? Since 2016, like Donald Trump has, when he says that maybe the Second Amendment people would be willing to do something against Hillary because of the threat of like their guns being taken away, despite Hillary never even like talking about that. Whenever Donald Trump offers to pay the jail fees for whoever one of his supporters like attacks like a heckler at his rally, when Donald Trump is inciting people to go to the Capitol building on January 6th, whenever the votes are being like certified, attempt to insurrect the fucking government.
Here's the thing about the media, though. You notice if Trump puts out a controversial meme or says something controversial in one of his truth posts, they're all over it. Talk about, should he really be talking about like this? Should he be doing this? But when Democrats do it,
Because he's a fucking president, dog.
I'm saying anything. They're correct.
After you guys scrutinized Biden for the past however many years, after you guys hyper-focused in on Hunter Biden and got no convictions on anything related to corruption whatsoever, all you got was like something on his like tax forms, the filings on his like on his gun permit or whatever the fuck. Like after you guys hyper-scrutinized these motherfuckers, give me a break.
Crickets. Chirping, you can hear. But when Democrats do it, they don't say anything. They're crickets. Chirping, you can hear. Nothing's going on with it. That is hypocrisy, people. And that's the reason they're allowed to get away with stuff like this, the Democrats. And that's the reason you're going to see this stuff escalate as time goes on, the longer Trump is in office. And the reason is because they hate him so much to the point where they want to destroy him. And if they have to, they'll destroy the country to do so.
Yeah, that is the fact. And it is so repulsive to me. The history that we have, the great nation that we become. We're so generous, willing to do anything for anybody in need around the world. We send money to everyone. And
is that true? What about the USAID funds that we just like cut entirely? What about the Title I funds that we just designated entirely to the HHS apparently that, you know, helped children that were impoverished? What about all of the extracurricular like funding that we had before this administration that are like completely cut? The entire like Department of Education is like completely defunded at this point, dog. You want to live in both worlds simultaneously despite only one world existing, and it's the world that's like counter to your narrative.
These guys would just throw their own constituents right into the meat grinder. And frankly, I think it's evil.
All right, guys, that's the end of the video. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed. Please hit that like button, comment, and share this out there. But
thanks for joining.
Dude, is this a fake fucking background? God, dude, so cringe.
The history that we have, the great nation that we become.